quiz. Now, what do you guys think about the quiz, and how could I improve it? What questions did you find tricky? I mean, obviously I have the results, but maybe kind of walk me through how things were tricky and why things were tricky. So, I did not talk about this one. What is the official name of the ruler of Imperial Rome? Obviously, this kind of got confusing. Does anyone know the difference between a Caesar and an emperor? Yeah.
Caesar's a person and emperor is a title.
Caesar is a title. Yep. But when you think Julius Caesar, you think person, correct? Caesar is kind of a title that they all kind of took on when they became the leader. Unless, of course, you're like Augustus, or, his actually was Caesar Augustus too, but his original name was Octavian. So does that kind of clarify? Caesar was a title that you took on when you were the leader of Rome. Looks like you guys did great on Vini Vidi Vici. And I think from earlier classes that I've been observing in the past, you guys have talked about this mythology before, so that obviously did pretty well. Spartacus was actually a slave, not somebody who raised these two. Spartacus was a slave who actually led a rebellion, if that rings any bells. Get over here. So we did talk about this, so that I'm glad that you guys nailed that one. For the most part, you guys nailed this too. So that's pretty good. I'll take 80. 80's not bad. Classes, glad we got that too. We talked about that right before we took the quiz. Now this, I didn't really say that he was the biggest property owner in Rome, but we did talk about a fire department. Does everyone remember Crassus? Okay.
Do you remember his death?
Does anyone remember how Crassus died? It's a pretty violent death. Crassus was very big on power, and the one thing he didn't have was power through commanding an army. So eventually he ended up going to war and actually, I believe, was beheaded. Does anyone remember that? No?
They poured gold down his
Yeah, because he was the wealthiest man, yeah. He had gold poured down his throat. Does that ring any bells? What's that? He died richer, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, given his hand poured down his throat to quench his thirst of finding.
Correct. Correct.
Do that.
So we talked about field commander. I wanted to make that clear because I know that field commander, you might not know what that term is. So I think in the future I would change that term. But I know in the reading it said field commander, so I was just trying to make it consistent. Okay, so we talked about rubber stamp again. Looks like most of you got Octavian and Augustus. Yeah, Caligula was the horse guy, as you'll find out later. And when I was talking with Mrs. Loritz, you guys talked about the art form before, and I feel like that's been hammered home pretty much. And government is such a big thing for the success of Rome. Remember, this stretched across many different cultures, many different areas of land, many different people. So the one thing that could actually unify them was a government. Now this I actually didn't talk about that much. So I think this could actually maybe point to maybe you guys actually reading the article pretty well. So that's good. This one we did talk about. Looks like most of you got it. Zeus is not the correct answer, as you know. That's also not the correct culture. Now this one I definitely would change, or at least go into more depth. This was talked about in the article. Imperial outstretch. Overstretch, yeah, was the correct answer. Does anyone kind of remember why Or maybe explain to the class why that is? Go ahead.
Can't defend it all.
Yeah, that's definitely a reason. It's briefly talked about. So I think I was just trying to explore close reading. I think in the future, I would make sure that's understood. Caligula was nailed for the most part. I don't know, maybe he owned a pig, but the pig was not the consul. And this is great. I did not talk about this at all, and this is at the end of the article. So I like to see that you guys did read it through. So that's excellent. In general, what could I fix? What would you guys change? And be as brutally honest. I'm learning, so I'm learning too.
I honestly think you did really well. It's just that 90% of the class just didn't finish reading it.
Is that true? Yes, Henry. Well, okay. Maybe what I'll do,
It's also just a generally very quiet class. I
Quiet
think
class.
it's true.
well, I appreciate that.
That's true, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with Max, and also I think that you basically told us all the answers we were just to see.
Okay. How was when I'm speaking? Is my voice inflection okay? Can you guys hear me fine? Okay. Okay. Well, this is my first time in front of a classroom, so I appreciate you guys' attention.